Some young saints are very pressed by their jobs. They work overtime a lot and can only separate once a week to read some of the ministry. They agree that the world is not good, but they cannot get off its usurpation. How can we help them? Well, I think you know what I will say. This is a matter of our basic, our very most fundamental and basic understanding of the human life and the Christian life. What are we doing here? I've shared with you before because we've been together a number of times. I shared with you before my own testimony. I'm sorry to even say it, but I was successful in my career, but I left it. And the reason I left it is it's not conducive to the church life. I quit several jobs that were very, very, very good jobs because they didn't give me time to participate in the church life. And I figured out a long, long time ago, I figured out as a very young person, I don't care how much people would be willing to pay me. If I can't be in the church life, I don't care. I don't care. Pay me $1 million a year. No thanks. If I can't be in the church life, I don't want it. I don't want it. And this is where we need to prioritize things in our human life. And I just share with you again the three things we need to prioritize. There are more, but three are primary. There are three primary things that we must prioritize in our human life. Number one, where do we place Christ and the church? Number two, where do we place our marriage and our family life? Number three, where do we place our livelihood, our way of making a living, our career, our job? I would suggest to you, it's just my thought, but it is based on the Bible. It's based on Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Put Christ and the church first. We all know this. If I took a poll of everybody on this Zoom call, I said, "Oh, saints, tell me, what's number one priority in your life?" We would all say the same thing, but we wouldn't be truthful. The actual case is some of us place our career and our livelihood number one. I'm sorry, but it's true. I know it's true. Some of us place our marriage life and our family life number one. Sorry, but it's true. I would suggest to you that the proper priority is we place Christ and the church first. Number two is our marriage life and our family life. That's a huge, huge, huge responsibility that is directly related to Christ and the church. That's why it's number two. It's directly related. God doesn't care what kind of job you do. Who cares? You got a job, you can quit it, get a different job. But God does care who you're married to. He does care for your children. He cares for the people you are responsible for. So that job, that career, that whatever, it's a distant third, and you should be ready to drop it in a minute You should be ready to drop it in a minute. And I really mean it. 25 years ago, Ben knows this. I was the president of a very large real estate development company in Seattle and construction company, and we built homes. And one day on my lunch break, I was at lunch. My cell phone rang, and one of the coworkers called me, and he said, brother, you need to quit your job because we need you to travel more. You're already traveling, but we need you to travel more for the Lord's interests and for the ministry. And it was a very, very short conversation. I'm just telling you the truth. Our conversation didn't last 1 minute. I said, well, okay, brother. Then I called my wife. I said, dear, the brothers want me to quit my job to travel more for the ministry. And what should I do? And she said, well, you have to do it. That was the extent of our fellowship. It probably lasted 20 seconds because I was always willing to forego any of that for the sake of the Lord's interests. And I hope you would too. You know, this thing with our jobs, our careers, our retirement, when I quit my job 25 years ago, there was a brother who was a medical doctor. He talked to me. He said, oh, I'm so worried about you. I said, why? Why are you worried about me? He said, well, you have 2 children. You have to put them through college. How are you going to do that? And how are you going to retire? You know what I told him? I said, I've got the best retirement plan in the universe. It's way better than yours. I said, let me tell you, your retirement plan is you're going to work like a dog for the next 50 years, and you're going to try to save up as much money as you can, and you're going to try to retire on all the money you made. I said, you know what my retirement plan is? I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to serve, I'm going to minister, and I'm going to rely on the Lord. I said, you know what? I think my plan is about 100 times better than yours. Yours stinks. Mine's good because my plan depends on the Lord. And now I'm at the end of it, and I can tell you it worked. It worked. Don't give yourself to the world. It's meaningless.